Hey guys, what's going on? Jeb here, and in today's video, we're going to be doing a little bit of technical analysis on Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency markets because as I'm sure you guys are aware, Bitcoin has basically just been trading sideways here for the last 10 days or so. Bitcoin has been moving sideways following this massive correction that we saw down from our recent highs of around $8,400, and I'm sure a lot of people have been rather relieved to see Bitcoin moving sideways for the better part of the last 2 weeks because it gives people a chance to go and get their finances back in order so that they can start buying. It allows people to calm down and get less emotional because the market isn't moving so quickly. So the decreased volatility is definitely a nice thing, but I think that's about to end because I believe the remainder of August and the beginning and the rest of September are going to be very volatile, and I think they're going to be very, very big for Bitcoin. I've talked about in other videos why I believe a new rally is going to start forming here in the next week or so. And in today's video, I'm going to be talking about all of the very important things on the chart and several of the very important things in the news that are going to be coming up in the remainder of August, moving into September, that I think are going to cause big swings in Bitcoin. And we're also going to be discussing which direction those swings are going because it's not necessarily one over the other with any amount of certainty. But before we get into the video, guys, if you enjoyed today's video, definitely consider dropping a like, hitting that subscribe button, and smashing the notification bell, guys. We do cryptocurrency videos every single day, and I wouldn't want you to miss any of them, so let's get right into it. But before we do, I want to go ahead and drag your attention to a poll I did yesterday. I asked you guys what is the ideal length of videos, and 73% of you guys said 10 to 15 minutes, so I'm going to try and make the videos a bit shorter. Tell me in the comment section down below, or you can come to the comments here or vote on this if you guys have a differing opinion. I'm more than happy to make the videos a little bit shorter. I'm going to try to make them a bit shorter. But anyway, now without much further ado, let's get right into it. Bitcoin is currently trading at around $6,450, and if we come in here to the hour chart, what we saw yesterday, just a little bit after I finished recording, was a nice big green candlestick coming up here. We moved up to around $6,550, not quite high enough to test our resistance up here at $6,600, and we started cooling off. You can see we've just been trading in between $6,250 and $6,600 in the last 4 or 5 days, really. I talked about that quite extensively in yesterday's video, which you can watch up here if you are at all interested. But I do still believe that Bitcoin is going to come up here, at least test $6,600 and probably break out of it, due in part to the things I talked about in yesterday's video, and also due in part to several things I'm going to be talking about in today's video. But like I said, Bitcoin's trading around $6,450, and we can see that it's up here right around the 20-hourly EMA, trying to get above it. Bitcoin's basically just trading sideways, guys. There's not a lot of stuff that we want to analyze on the hour chart. There is something we can look at. There is an uptrend right here that we can look at that is pushing us up towards $6,600, so keep an eye on this little uptrend right here. Other than that, there's not really a whole lot to look at on the hourly chart, nor is there really on the 4-hourly chart. There's just not a lot going on. So that's why we're talking about more long-term stuff right now, because there's not a whole lot of stuff going on in the short term for Bitcoin. But the rest of the altcoin market isn't doing phenomenally. We do still see a lot of green players here. We also do still see a lot of red players as well, though. It's about split. We do see the altcoin markets are still trying to find a bottom. A lot of them are still trying to set a permanent bottom. We see Digix DAO being down 11%. Veritasium, that's a great YouTube channel, by the way, up 21.82%. I don't know if there's any relation between the YouTube channel and that cryptocurrency, but the YouTube channel is quite quality. I'm not very familiar with the cryptocurrency, though. Bitcoin's market capitalization is around $111 billion. We've talked about before about how $100 billion is really the level to be looking at. It's not what I meant to do. Is the level that we want to be looking at for a very important level of support, because that correlates with our 57.50 bottom over here back in late June. That's even more important of a level than $6,000 flat is, because we've respected that level twice. Also, when we pulled back here, we pulled back to around the $103 billion region. So that's a level that you want to be keeping an eye on. Daily volume hasn't really changed a lot since yesterday. That makes sense, though, because we are still in the morning hours, in the waking hours of the East Coast of the United States. It is 8:22 a.m. in the morning Eastern Standard Time when I'm recording this, so the majority of the United States has not woken up. They have not started trading. Europe is awake, but at the same time, you know, the United States is really a very big place with a lot of traders in it. So I think this volume is going to be increasing over the rest of the day, and I think the remainder of the week is probably going to be a very important week for the cryptocurrency market. It's not going to be like the be-all and end-all of crypto, but I do think some more interesting things are going to be happening in this week, leading into the rest of August and into September. Bitcoin is up about 0.55% over the last 24 hours, though. We can see that pretty much the entire top 10 are red. We do see Monero up a little bit and Stellar up a little bit. And of course, my favorite cryptocurrency, Tether. You guys should go watch the April Fool's video I did on Tether. A lot of people thought I was serious about that. But anyway, the altcoins are doing pretty poorly in the top, but they're not down that significantly. Anyway, with all that said, let's go ahead and talk about Bitcoin. because there's a lot of things that we want to talk about, and there's a lot of things I want to draw your attention to here on the Bitcoin chart that we need to kind of zoom out and look at the macro level a little bit more on Bitcoin. And also there's several news events that are coming up by the end of September that we also want to talk about. The first things that we want to talk about are our indicators, and the first thing I want to bring your attention to is actually our MACD. I've been talking about for several videos now about how I've been expecting a bullish MACD cross. As you can see, if we zoom in here, we got to zoom in here a long way because it just happened. We can see, I don't know if you can see it. Can you see it right there? We have a bullish MACD cross. It's going to become much more apparent tomorrow, but we do have a bullish MACD cross. And MACD is a lagging indicator, and since it's a lagging indicator, this means that we really became bullish a couple of days ago. Let me get my chart, my RSI and everything back where it's supposed to be. Since the MACD is a lagging indicator, that does mean that we became bullish a couple of days ago, and that makes sense based on the Heikin Ashi chart, which I showed you guys a few videos ago, where the Heikin Ashi chart has turned green over the last week or so. So it does indicate that Bitcoin is starting to move up, and that Bitcoin probably will start to continue going bullish. A lot of people do use the MACD, guys, and one of the ways that I judge the power of a technical indicator is by how many people use it, because I'm of the camp that much of the power, not all of the power, but much of the power, whether it be predictive or any kind of power that a technical indicator has, is derived directly from how many people use it. And MACD is one of the most commonly used technical indicators in all of technical analysis, not just in cryptocurrency markets. The RSI and the MACD are very, very powerful, not only because of the way they function, but also because of how many people use them and trade by them. So Bitcoin going bullish on the MACD on the daily chart is a very, very good sign, because a lot of people are going to take that as bullish price strength confirmation for Bitcoin moving up, and for Bitcoin to hopefully be breaking support up, or excuse me, resistance up here around $6,600. That, and along with the Heikin Ashi chart, which is used a little bit less, but is also pretty good at predicting reversals in the Bitcoin market, that does bode well for the Bitcoin market. Another thing that I want to talk about is one of our favorite exponential moving averages, one of our favorite averages here on the chart, and that would be the 20 daily EMA. You can see this line. This is the only moving average on the chart right now. Of course, I still have my other 4 SMAs up right now, but they're not really all that relevant right now. The 20 EMA is one of my favorite moving averages. In fact, it probably is my favorite moving average in all of technical analysis on the Bitcoin chart anyway, because it's extremely, extremely powerful on just about every interval. On the daily chart it's powerful. On the weekly chart it's powerful. On the monthly chart it's powerful. If we come out here to the monthly chart, you can see we're getting support on it right now, which is a good thing that you should also have your attention on. We can see that the 20 daily exponential moving average is a very powerful indicator, because we can see Bitcoin has so much trading around it. Back over here, we were getting resistance on it as we were going down. When we broke it, we kept going up. Resistance going down. When we broke it, we started going up. It's really one of those moving averages that you can use to determine when Bitcoin is in an uptrend or when Bitcoin is in a downtrend. So it's very important that Bitcoin does not get resistance on this level and keep going lower, because if it does, it's going to be very bearish for Bitcoin. It's probably going to reverse this bullish cross on the MACD, and it's probably going to turn the Heikin Ashi chart red. So we want to see Bitcoin get above this 20 daily EMA. It's a very, very important indicator. It's a very important average. And what we see right now is, because Bitcoin's price has been going down generally over the last 20 days or so, the the 20 daily EMA is also curving down. And if we were to kind of extrapolate out where this moving average is going to go, it's probably going to follow a trend, something like that, maybe something like that. And I expect in the next, probably within this week, within this 5-day week, not the 7-day week, within this week, this moving average is going to come down to either meet up with $6,600, or it's going to come down below $6,600. And both of those scenarios put $6,600 as an even stronger level of resistance, because we're going to have $6,600, which is already a triple top, meeting up with the 20 daily exponential moving average. And like I've talked about in previous videos, when you see 2 or more levels of support or levels of resistance converge, I call it convergence of support and resistance. When you see convergence of support and resistance, you can read into that 2 different things. You can say, okay, well, that level just became even stronger because now you have to get through 2 levels of support or resistance. So that you could say that $6,600 is even stronger now because we have the 20 daily EMA here. But you can also interpret it as, okay, well, if we get through it, it's going to be very bullish because we just broke 2 very important levels of resistance or support. So those are 2 different ways you can look at that. I still do believe Bitcoin is going to break above $6,600. Like I've said in other videos, in the short term anyway, I'm bullish on Bitcoin from about 55% to 65 to 70%. Somewhere around there, I'm expecting Bitcoin to break above $6,600. And if it does, at the time being, at the moment, it looks like it's also going to break the 20 daily EMA, which is a very, very powerful indicator. Like I just explained, we want Bitcoin to get above the 20 daily EMA because, like you can see here on the chart, if you just sit back and look at the chart for a couple of seconds, you'll see it. This is an indicator that shows when Bitcoin is in a rally or when it's in a downtrend, because we were in a downtrend here, we were below it. We were in an uptrend here, we were above it. Downtrend here, we were below it. Uptrend here, we were above it. Downtrend here, we were below it. It's a bit of a lagging indicator on the daily chart, but it is a good way to tell when you're in a bull cycle and a bear cycle, a rally and a downtrend. It's a very good way of getting a picture for what's going on. So getting above this would be a very strong piece of confirmation. Something else we want to talk about is that if we get above both of these levels, we're likely going to be getting above the downtrend here in the descending triangle pattern. And the descending triangle pattern is something that I want to talk about a little bit more in today's video also, because this pattern has been very important for the entirety of 2018, starting about halfway through January and on into February. It's been an important pattern. Of course, when it was just forming, we didn't realize it. But after we had our top up here at $10,000 and after we established $6,000 as a bottom, it became apparent that this was an important triangle pattern. At the time, we thought it was a consolidation pattern, a symmetrical consolidation pattern, symmetrical triangle pattern. It turned out to be a descending triangle pattern. And both of these trend lines, the support level at $6,000 and this downtrend, are going to be crossing on the 15th of September, which means this descending triangle pattern 1 month from today is no longer going to be relevant in the same way that it has been for the majority of 2018. And this downtrend has played a very, very crucial role for Bitcoin. And since these two trend lines are crossing, the entire formation is going to be null and void within a month from now, which means we are going to either break bullish or we're going to break bearish out of it, and there's no in between. We can't just go sideways out of this. We're not going to see Bitcoin just go like that and go sideways out of it. That just almost never happens. 0.01% of the time you might see a market go sideways like that. You almost never see that happen. So we're going to see either a bullish or a bearish breakout of this formation by the end of August or halfway through September. By the end of September, we're going to be out of it. This formation that has played such a crucial role in the Bitcoin and the cryptocurrency market for the last 7 months is no longer going to be an issue. It's no longer going to be important. With that said, this formation is not only present on the auto scale, it is also present on the logarithm scale. A lot of people bash me and say, Jeb, you need to cover the logarithm scale more, so I will. On the logarithm scale, we also have a descending triangle pattern. You can see you can also connect these tops. Up here, we have a top right there, there, and there, which sheds a little bit more light on why Bitcoin actually topped out at $8,500 instead of topping out on the descending triangle pattern on the auto scale. With that in mind, we do have several more months on this on this descending triangle pattern left, because these lines do not cross until about into 2018. That's something you want to keep in mind, but also something you want to keep in mind is that most people, and I do mean most people, use the logarithm scale, and a lot of the trading volume is around the logarithm scale. It's important to look at the log scale because some things do show up on the log scale that don't show up on the auto scale, like the downtrend I just showed you. But the majority of people use the auto scale when they're doing their technical analysis, and since I'm in the camp that most technical analysis is, the power of most technical analysis is derived from the amount of trading volume that trades based upon it, then most of my focus is on the auto scale. Some people have been curious why I mainly use the auto scale and I don't look at the log scale much in videos. That would be why, but that was an example of a case where I wanted to show it to you. And one of the last things that we want to talk about here that is going to be very important moving into August and September, and which is why I believe that these the next 4 to 5 weeks are going to be so important for Bitcoin, and why we're going to see a lot of movement rather in Bitcoin, is also because, as we know, the Bitcoin ETF got delayed back over here. I believe it was August the 6th that got delayed. The Bitcoin ETF got delayed, and they moved the deadline off until September the 30th. So if we draw a vertical line right here, by then, the Bitcoin ETF is either going to be accepted, denied, or extended. And every single one of those carries very, very large ramifications for the Bitcoin price action. No matter what they announce, Bitcoin is going to move in some way, and it's going to move quite a bit in some way. What we saw when it was, not when it was rejected, what we saw when it was delayed is Bitcoin formed 3 black crows over here on the hourly chart. Let's make sure. Yep, okay. Bitcoin formed 3 black crows over here on the hourly chart. If we can come over here and zoom in, we'll see. We saw 3 black crows. That's what these 3 red candlesticks that are all about the same size in a row represents. That's a very bearish sign. It's like a death. It's not really that. I was gonna say it's similar to how a death cross is, but that's not exact. That's not even close to what I meant to say. But what we saw was the 3 black crows, and Bitcoin came down here and broke below $6,800. And then since it broke a level of support, that made the crash even worse. We came down here, broke below $6,800, and then the news plus the technicals pushed us all the way down here to close to $6,000 within the next couple of days. That was a very bad time for Bitcoin if you guys were going long. I'm sure you guys were having an absolute blast if you were shorting Bitcoin, though, as a lot of people were. But what we saw over here is that Bitcoin moved quite significantly because of the news of the extension rather than the acceptance or the denial. And again, like I said, a lot of this movement, I believe, was based off of technicals with Bitcoin breaking $6,800, not just the news aspect, but the news aspect did still cause Bitcoin to move $300, $400, $500 at least. And I believe the same thing will happen just about no matter what the SEC announces. What if they announce that it's being accepted? Bitcoin's probably going to jump like $500 and break some important level of resistance, which is important at that time if they accept it. If they accept it, it's going to be very good for the short term in Bitcoin, I believe. Now, there's also the case that it could be very bad for Bitcoin and that people will start selling the news. That kind of depends on where the market is at the time, in my opinion. And then there's also the case that they delay it, which, as I've explained in another video, which you can watch up here in the top right, I hope they delay it because I don't want them to go ahead and deny it right now. If they're going to deny it, I want them to push it off, and I don't want the risk of them denying it, so I'd much rather them just delay it. So if they delay it, it's probably going to cause a big crash, and if they deny it, it's going to cause a very big crash because so many people have made the Bitcoin ETF to be something. They've made the Bitcoin ETF out to be something that is far more important than it actually is, in my opinion. And a lot of people are thinking that, oh my gosh, if the Bitcoin ETF gets accepted, we're going to go straight to $20,000 and we'll be back there within the next week. And a lot of people also think, and of course I'm exaggerating for effect here, a lot of people are also under the opinion that the Bitcoin ETF being denied is also the end of the world. I don't really think it. I'm not really in either one of those camps. I'm of the opinion that the Bitcoin ETF being accepted, delayed, or denied is probably going to move Bitcoin $300 to $500 to $700, and that's going to be about it. I mean, if it's accepted, it's going to be good for the long term. But guys, at the same time, if the Bitcoin ETF gets denied, literally nothing changed. It's not the end of the world if the Bitcoin ETF gets denied. Another one will probably be accepted in the future. But with that said, this no matter what the SEC announces, it's going to be important for price action, and it's going to happen by the end of September. Literally, one of those three things is going to happen by the end of September. They're not just going to be quiet all the way through their deadline. It's just not going to happen. So to wrap up, what we're going to see in the next month and a half, things that I believe we're going to see and things that we're definitely going to see. What I believe we're going to see is that Bitcoin's going to get up above $6,600, break this down, break this moving average, and then break the downtrend. Part of that is due to the fact that the 20 daily EMA is curving down here to current resistance at $6,600. And also another reason I'm believing this is because the downtrend of the descending triangle pattern is continuing to fall, and the descending triangle pattern is no longer going to be important come 15th of September 2018. Another thing that we're looking at is the bullish MACD cross, like we talked about at the beginning of the video. I believe Bitcoin is going to start trending up here over the next 7 to 14 days, and Bitcoin is going to look bullish going into September, and then we're going to be going up here somewhere, and then the Bitcoin ETF is going to either get accepted, denied, or rejected, accepted, denied, rejected, and then we're going to see something happen from there. Like I said, I've outlined everything that I think is going to happen over the next 45 days. Tell me in the comments section down below, what is your opinion? Do you think September is going to be a very big month for Bitcoin? Because a lot of things that are fundamental pieces of market structure are going to be changing, or at least are going to have announcements related to them coming out. The descending triangle pattern and the Bitcoin ETF are two of the most important pieces of technical and fundamental analysis you can do on the Bitcoin chart right now, and both of them have big news stories coming out in the next 45 days. The Bitcoin ETF either gets accepted, denied, or delayed, and the descending triangle pattern is completely null and void within a month from today. So tell me in the comment section down below, what do you think this means for Bitcoin? Is Bitcoin going to be going up, sideways, down? Where is it going over the next 45 days? I'm interested, as always, to hear you guys' opinion. Also, tell me in the comment section down below if you like the shorter videos. I'm going to try and keep them below 17 minutes. And we already broke that, but oh well, I like telling you guys information. Anyway, guys, that's going to do it for this video. I want to thank each and every single one of you for watching, as always, and I will see you guys in the next video. Peace.